Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're back!
Yeah.
Episode 2 of Great Minds. Today, we are going to be talking about a number of different things. Today, we're going to be discussing Trump's Jesus photos. We're also going to be discussing The Boys Season 5. And we are going to be discussing the age-old existential question of why are we here? My name is Uriah Gillespie.
Easy little thing there, yeah. Just a big question. No problem.
Once again, my name is Uriah Gillespie.
And I'm Michael Hasseth.
Thank you. And we are both inquisitive minds. I like to call myself a philosopher. I don't know if Mike likes to go by that title.
I'm just here. I don't really go by any titles.
Okay. Well, I think it is sorry, should I do let me do an ad read first. So
all right.
All right, let me get that set up really quick. All right, hi everybody. My name is Uriah Gillespie, but I am much better known as Afro X. I have, if you're interested in anime at all, check out my Afro X channel. But what I'm here to talk about right now is the Afro X Patreon, where if you want to donate to me or any of the channels that I run, you can go to www.patreon.com/AfroX. And on there, you will see 5 different tiers that you can donate at, starting at only $5. The Patreon is more specifically for AfroX, so it has like AfroX merch on it and stuff. But if you donate at the $5 a month level, you'll get your name shown at the end of all the edited videos on AfroX, and the rewards just keep going up from there. You can donate in increments of $5, $10, $30, $50, or $100 a month. And yeah, it's a really good time, and for not that much money, honestly, $5 a month. So there is that. If you are interested in Dead by Daylight, I do have a Dead by Daylight channel. It's called Terror Time. The link for it is Terror Time 666. So do make sure to check that out if you are into the game Dead by Daylight. And if you are into film reviews or looking into film reviews, currently it is still called Nerdtastic News. You can check that out there, but very soon that will be transitioning over to Filmtastic Reviews. So definitely make sure to go check that out. And without further ado, back to the episode of Great Minds.
All right.
How was that ad read, Michael?
Sounded like an ad read to me.
But enough about how great that ad read was. Today we our first order of business is we are looking at the news. We are looking at the news. And we are going to be talking about probably the biggest news story in the past week, which is Trump's Jesus photos. So, just an overview for people who may not know. In the past week, Trump verbally attacked the Pope and saying that he was weak on crime, um, and uh, things such as that. And he posted a picture of himself as Jesus healing somebody who not many people wanted to admit, but looks a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, which was very weird, like extremely weird. So this photo obviously got a bunch of backlash, and it really made Trump unpopular and dragged down by even his MAGA supporters and a lot of people who were like kind of supporting him. And then he took it down, and during an interview where he also included a random woman from DoorDash in the interview, he said that the picture was of him as a doctor. So he blatantly lied. And then just about the next day, he posted another picture of him standing with Jesus and working on, I think it was some sort of clay or pottery project, something like that. But yes, so that it's been really controversial recently of Trump's real attachment to Christianity and portrayals of Christianity in the media. What do you think, Mike?
I think that he is very, very good at rage baiting people, honestly. Uh, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why he posts those things, but it is a very good job of getting every single person to talk about him. I mean, like you said, this being the biggest news story, that's kind of crazy to me, just considering all the things that are happening in the world. And as, how old is he? 71? Am
Mm-hmm.
I correct there? A 71-year-old man posting AI generated content, even though that man is the president. I mean, like, we have countries that are days away from running out of their oil supplies, and their entire infrastructure depends on the use of petroleum and, like, gas products like that. It's crazy that him making an AI image like that is the biggest news story to me, honestly. I think that he's just really good at getting people to talk about this kind of stuff, and that this kind of stuff does a very good job of kind of taking the spotlight away from some of the other stuff that is possibly more important. And that's probably why he did something that seems so shocking to people, is because the shock factor is what gets people talking about this over other stuff, in my opinion.
Very true, very true. That's what a lot of people are thinking. That Trump keeps doing more and more shocking things in order to distract from whenever people don't like him. And so, like, when people were talking about the Epstein files, then he all of a sudden attacked Iran. And now that people are not happy about the situation in Iran and he isn't looking good, he decides to like post himself as Jesus. And it just feels like a continuing, it, it feels like weirdly Trump is digging himself a deeper hole and at the same time attempting to fail upwards on one of them.
Yeah, I not everything you said there is completely, I think, accurate. Like, the war, I'm not, I guess, I'm not, don't quote me on this. I would have to look it up to verify this, but it's my understanding that this has been in the works with Israel for a long time, and that's to call that like a distraction. Not that it wouldn't possibly be a distraction, but I think it's beyond just like covering up some of like the Epstein stuff and all that. There's plenty of other things that I think are covering that up, but I think that may be a useful benefit of the war in Iran, but I think that's also a lot of international geopolitical stuff that's far beyond just Trump's decision making.
Hmm. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, do you think that it is planned that that there might be individuals in the government that are now having Trump have a large downfall because his time of usefulness has run out, in a sense?
For you were saying, like, do you think, like, who's doing that to him, I guess, in this question, just to clarify.
Like, so we all know, like, the kind of pseudo rumor of, like, the Illuminati, or like the CEOs of, like, high tier businesses like Halliburton and stuff like that. And there's always the
Yeah.
idea that, like, they run the world and they're actually the ones controlling the president and the government and stuff. And I'm just wondering if,
So
like,
basically, just like regardless of what face you want to put on it, sort of the oligarch type, or
exactly,
people that are also possibly like a lot more long-term government employees that aren't in and out with elections, that have high statuses and that, so on and so forth. Those types, yeah. Okay, I'm just clarifying for what you were
okay,
saying for
yeah.
my sake. Yeah.
I'm asking if like they gave Trump a rise, and now like they're orchestrating his downfall.
That's always a possibility. Yeah. Um I guess I don't follow the conspiracies and stuff enough. There's too many things nowadays to even keep up, but um I wouldn't say that's entirely impossible. I couldn't tell you if this all is orchestrated by larger forces every single step of the way, or how much he clearly has some autonomy in making a bunch of these. Like, I don't think there's a big government that had him make the AI picture. He could. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think that's just an old man on his phone that has figured out AI at like 2 a.m. or whatever time he posted that.
Yeah.
I it's so hard to say with him, because, like, what is the public opinion of him? Like, he has been losing a lot more of his core people, but at this point, I don't really even know how many people like him. It There's a lot less. There's still some people that support him to the core, but there's just a lot of people that have lost respect on many different levels with him going against everything that he said he was going to do, from war to the economy to, all that kind of stuff. There's plenty of people that are not okay with that. So those people are more people, but, like, what does that matter to him at this point? The public opinion. He is the guy that likes public opinion, but he's also the guy that he seems like he's a big coper too. So when his public opinion's down, he's just gonna say a bunch of stuff and then behave more erratically because it's bothering him subconsciously. I'm guessing, if I were.
According to Google, his approval rating is currently between 36 and 41%.
So, do you think that perhaps because his approval rating is down, that might be why he's making more erratic decisions?
I mean, yeah, that's a that it's a that is a I like that theory. That is a nice theory. In order to quote a donkey from Shrek meme. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the entirety of it. That probably is perhaps a part of it, though.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why we're here, is to ask the questions. We're in essence asking the question: is Trump's current downfall because of his own ineptitude, or is it being orchestrated by powers above him?
Yeah, I think probably it could be both too, if there are powers above him that are finally letting him fall apart. Although I guess I don't know what they stand to gain or lose or any of that stuff. Anyways, like I don't know to what extent he is beholden to them and losing it, or if he's going along right with it and like, you know, I
See,
don't know.
I bet there's a good like happy medium answer to all of it, and that
Yeah,
is that they
that's
know he's going to destroy himself, and so they orchestrated his rise, and then they just let go and said, "We're going to watch you crash and burn because you're going to do it by yourself."
yeah. There's probably portions of that, and there's probably a lot of him his own doing. Like they just don't have. They can take the brakes off and let him undo himself. Honestly,
Yeah,
so I really don't know. It's hard to say if what he's doing aligns with the powers that be that are beyond that. Like there's a lot of economic, uh, if he's being influenced by CEOs and stuff. There's a lot of big companies, retailers, and stuff that don't stand to benefit a whole lot from the way that he's been behaving recently. So I don't know how much he's listening to them, you know.
what always scares me, I will say, is the idea that, like with Trump as president, time feels stretched. Since he became president, it has felt like 5 years of him being president, even though it's only been like uh, almost it's been like 1.5, I think.
Well, you know why I think that's happening?
Well, let me continue.
Yeah, get to the end of your thing.
Yeah. Um, and so what I worry about is like everybody's like, oh, it'll be over for Trump in midterms. We'll get to midterms. Midterms is in November. And what worries me is that the closer we get to midterms and things still looking bad for him, the more irrational he's going to get. And I'm worried that at one point he will make an irreversible decision, something that breaks America so hard that we can't come back from it. Like honestly,
You
if like
believe that
if, like
hasn't already happened?
well, and a lot of people think that, but I'm talking about things like if like the day before the midterms he just panic lost his mind and said, "I'm pressing the button on a nuke and it's going to Iran," and then we were just like, "What do we do now?"
Yeah, so you just mean that he does something like, and that's yeah. Because I was gonna say it depends on what you mean by like irrecoverable damage. Because at all right now, there's very clearly just it's shown that if everybody in the system is okay with disregarding the system, then you can disregard the system. And can we recover from that having been demonstrated?
True. I mean, there's a woman on who's been on my Facebook reels, and she also is a YouTuber and also a very big activist that's like been on TV and stuff. And she calls herself Politics Girl, and she was saying like, um, to the rest of the world, America doesn't even represent what we used to represent. We don't represent justice or mercy, and definitely not democracy. And she said if one man can derail the U.S. this much, it means that our system isn't working and hasn't worked for a long time.
Yeah, but he also is just accelerating. Yeah, like it hasn't worked for a long time, like she said, because he's just accelerating. I think what was already happening with America. We're just losing a lot of credibility faster now, but there's a lot of ways we've lost credibility a lot slower and
He's
faster too
doing
in the past.
he's fast tracking the Republican agenda.
Well, also, I just think that a lot of things he does is a lot more out in the open Whereas I think every other president has done plenty of things in the shadows that we don't know about that would probably pretty much disagree with too, you know?
That is true. I was talking, or someone commented on one of my posts the other day and said, "Well, there's tons of presidents who have done other horrible stuff, like Obama put kids in cages," and she had like actual like proof of like a news story talking about that from an unbiased source.
Yeah.
And I said, and so she was like, "Why are you ragging on Trump so much?" And I said, because Trump is the first president. Like other presidents were probably evil and did bad stuff. Trump is the first president who shows you that he is evil. He is unapologetically and blatantly evil. Like I in one of his speeches before he got elected in 2016, he literally said, "I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a snake in the grass."
Yeah.
Yeah. He is the Dr. Doofenshmirtz of America. He's the guy who will walk right out and be like, I'm gonna punch you in the face just because I want to, because I'm not a good person."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He's not the guy who's gonna like stuff you in a van and rough you up.
no, I don't know. Every other president has things that you can dig up though too, or at least the ones I'm thinking of. Like
Yeah.
everybody, they're all people, they all got skeletons in their closet, you know. Obama reclassified in some format or another what counted as a combatant so that they could count less civilian kills in their drone strikes. And they give him a Nobel Peace Prize. So, you know, I mean, like there's big politics is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trump pretty much strong armed a Nobel Peace Prize out of another country.
Explain. I guess I didn't hear about that.
Right after they captured Medrano from Venezuela, their vice president was gonna like step up and become the leader of Venezuela, and Trump was like, "You can be the leader, but only if you give me your Nobel Peace Prize."
So
And
he just got somebody
and
else's like
she just gave it to him so she
trophy
could be
or
president.
certificate or whatever the heck they give you.
Yeah,
So he has one. That doesn't mean he earned one.
he didn't earn one.
It's like if I
He
go
didn't win.
to the Pawn Stars guys and buy what that Super Bowl ring somebody sold, like I have a Super Bowl ring. That doesn't mean I won the Super Bowl, you know.
Yeah, he
He
literally
didn't win the
just
Nobel Peace
bullied
Prize.
and
He just
stole
has a
someone else's
Nobel.
lunch money.
That's very Trump. That sounds exactly like what you'd expect. He bought one instead of, you know, I mean, he negotiated one, but he basically purchased it. He
Yeah.
secured it through means of uh, strong harming somebody.
Mhm. You want to hear something really? This is true, and it almost seems like a conspiracy, but it's very interesting that. So you know how Kamala Harris ran against him.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Trump obviously, like a trump card, means something that automatically causes you to win in a game,
Yeah.
even when you have no advantage. And Kamala in Hindu language, and I learned this from watching Miss Marvel. Kamala means perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting that things worked out the way they did, and I didn't even learn that meaning until like long after the elections and stuff when I watched Miss Marvel.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
think perfect oversells her by quite a little bit, but
it does. Yeah, I don't think it was Hindu. I think it was Urdu was the language.
okay.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I always thought that was interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is about Trump's Jesus photos. Moving on. Um, since we are a bit past the time of moving on that I wanted to, we are going to be talking about The Boys Season 5, since that is very relevant in the world right now. And specifically, what I want to talk about in The Boys Season 5 is I kind of want to make a segue here. But I will say that watching The Boys Season 5 is so weird because it feels like the writers of The Boys, it feels like they literally know what the future is going to be. Just because every time I watch The Boys, I look at it and I'm like, this is literally just the news that is happening right now, but everybody has superpowers. And for a long time in watching The Boys, I've just been like, Homelander is just Trump if Trump had superpowers. And so but it's so weird how things like line up so much. And I must say, 5-second warning for spoilers for The Boys Season 5.
I guess I'm kind of stuck here, aren't I?
You are, and I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. Go ahead. Like I said, I told them when we started though that I haven't seen this, so yeah, but you can go ahead and talk about it. I'm not gonna have anything to say unless you have questions.
Yeah,
about concepts that relate to it.
I'm only spoiling like the first 3 episodes.
All right.
Yeah,
just get it over with.
Okay. So in the main story of the beginning of season 5, at the end of season 4, Homelander became he kind of became de facto the president of the United States. He's not the president, but the president is under his thumb and is scared of him, and like obeys him. And so he in essence became the president of the United States. And so he has ordered that anybody who was associated with Starlight, who was friends with Starlight, be put into camps. And during the first couple episodes, he goes even farther to say that anyone who has ever posted any pro-Starlighter or anti-Homelander things on social media is to be rounded up and captured and put in these camps. And in essence, this is like, and this is, it's such a mirror to Trump saying, like it's pretty much an allegory. I don't know if it can even be an allegory because it's kind of happening at the same time, but like this is like Trump rounding up immigrants and putting them into camps and just dragging people off the street, telling people to report their neighbors, and things like that. And then there's things like that, and just the whole thing of Homelander getting more and more desperate and making really wild moves, and then his whole personal life kind of falling apart and stuff. But it was weird because there's even moments that feel like they are written like 5 hours before the episode drops, because in episode 3, the most recent episode, Homelander gets kind of a angelic vision of his kind of mother figure that he killed in season 1. And she kind of comes to him and says, you are going to show them that you are the one true God, because who is more beloved than Jesus? And I was like, this show is trying to get Homelander to think that he's Jesus or God. And then Trump just posted the AI image of himself as Jesus the other day. And I'm like, it's literally, this show is psychically predicting the news that is going to happen or has just recently happened, um, which absolutely blows my mind that they are able to do this. It literally is almost like the writers for The Boys are time travelers who have seen the future. Um,
Maybe
and
they know Matt Growing or whatever the Simpsons guy's name is.
Matt Groening, yeah, yeah. Um, but well, even Matt Groening, yeah, and The Simpsons was dead on a lot of stuff, but like even The Simpsons was like it was like we predicted it, but we predicted it many years ahead of time.
Mhm.
Like the boys writers are predicting things days before or like right after they happen in the same general time frame, but in such a close proximity that there's no way you could ever know that these things were going to happen unless the writers of the boys just wrote a story that was so predictable that it is what is actually happening. Um, and so that stuff has gotten very weird. And honestly, when something that happens in the news and that it happens in the boys, I get so tripped out. I'm feeling like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode. But the thing I really wanted to touch on is in episode 3. Stan Edgar, who is the former head of VOT and is kind of like in season 1 he was kind of the only guy that Homelander was actually afraid of. He's played by Giancarlo Esposito, who is known as one of the most intimidating villain actors of all time. But in season 3 he's talking to Mother's Milk, and here's what he says. Um, they're talking about MM's father, and Stan Edgar says, "I knew your father. He was a good lawyer. He made everybody work on weekends and holidays." Um, and he said, "But he could never win." And he says to MM, he says, "It's why ultimately you won't win either. You're fighting an undefeatable foe. You know that, right? It's more powerful than Vought or Homelander, more powerful than nature or life itself. It's profit and loss, supply and demand, the elegant flow of currency across the globe. We're just cogs in a great machine, and we all have our part to play. When superheroes go out of fashion, something else will just take their place. Because corporations must still grow, money must still be made, the machine must still be fed. That is the way of the world." And that left a real imprint on me and really hit me. Um, and the reason that it hit me is because thinking about like we are in a time right now where everybody who is against Trump and a lot of America and a lot of the world is calling out and saying, somebody just get rid of Trump. Like get rid of Trump. And then we have to sit there, we have to think about, well, when Trump is gone, who is next? When in essence, what if you want to make it an allegory, like you could say it is something that is more powerful than Trump and more powerful than the presidency. And when like uh when I think when media and shock value and billionaires and all of that goes out of fashion, there will be something that takes its place. When all of our perceived evils are done away with, when we feel like we have won, something else will take their place, and it may be something worse. But that is the truth, that behind all of it, that society still continues to run, and in essence, in essence, greed, it doesn't end, which leads to Michael's question.
Yeah, well, I mean, before we were talking about this, I was just asking you, like, I was starting to hint at the idea of like, why do you think greed doesn't die? Or stemming off of the what they were talking about, the machine. Like, where do you think the machine they're speaking of, the metaphorical, machine of basically what humans
Why can't
creating
greed be stopped?
systems. Yeah, well, humans creating systems that uh benefit few and that hurt many. And like,
Right.
why do you think that type of a system persists? Why do you think that kind of greed doesn't die?
Well, and the reason that greed doesn't die is because it is, in the words of V from V for Vendetta, Mr. Creedy, greed is an idea, and ideas are bulletproof. In essence, the thing at the back of all of it, greed doesn't die because it is held by so many people. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of like Santa Claus or Slender Man. It is an ethereal idea that like I won't say it doesn't exist, but like the I think it's called the Topla effect with like Santa Claus or Slenderman, where if enough people believe in something, it culturally becomes real. If enough people accept a fact, it becomes real. For example, um, uh, cotton Q-tips. The real name of Q-tips is cotton swabs, but because of brand naming and Q-tip becoming a household name, everybody just knows them as Q-tips. That's the same concept with paper tissues, which are called Kleenex, and um, uh, uh, copies of papers, which are called Xeroxes. Um, and if enough
Although I don't think
people,
anybody's calling them Xeroxes nowadays, but yes,
yeah,
at one point.
but yeah, if enough people believe in something, it becomes somewhat real. And so where greed goes into that is that like greed is kind of unkillable because so many people back it and strive for it and are driven by it that you can't stop it by getting rid of one person.
So, do you then, I guess, with that answer, think that greed is solely like an emergent property of other people of like, what do you call it, copying, of repeating what you see other people do? Do you think that's where the idea is that can't die, or do you think there's something deeper in people that would cause it to emerge, even if you were to say be in a hypothetical situation where suddenly the idea of greed was gone? You think that would eliminate it forever, or do you think it would reemerge because it's more
It
complex?
might reemerge. I mean, looking at Stan Egger's quote, he says it's profit and loss, supply and demand. Um, and really what all of it stems from is that the earth has a limited supply of resources, and not everyone can like equally have every resource. I mean, at this point, I would say we definitely have more money than we have resources on Earth. And so it's not even a thing of like, hey, if the billionaires shared their wealth, if they gave everybody on Earth $10 billion, um, then everything would be better. It's a thing of like, if everyone on Earth got $10 billion, we still would not have enough resources to give everybody everything that they want.
Well, and what's the point of money without resources, anyways?
Exactly. Money is useless unless you can use it to get to get a resource, obtain a resource.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and basically the value of the money is like it's not produced by the money itself, but it's produced by what you put into it, but your own belief in it, you know?
yeah. I'm gonna talk for about 5 more minutes on this, and then I think we should get to today's main topic. But um, really, I mean, walking all of it back, limited resources, and really, you could go into what the Buddhists talk about, and they say that like every bad thing in life is driven by want and desire, and that the best way to live and to find well, they call it nirvana, but kind of like inner peace, is to get rid of your wants and desires. If you get rid of your wants and desires as much as you can, if you reduce what you are pulling into yourself, then you are in essence reducing the amount of resource that you use, and by doing that, really, that makes more resources for other people
Let
and
me
helps
cut in here
explore the
quick too
world a little
before I
bit.
go too far
Yeah,
because I don't want to skip past the Buddhist part because I also wanted to,
yeah. Go ahead.
well, I wanted to add that, you know, that that's not, even the Buddhists themselves would admit that, like, that system isn't perfect because it's a paradox. If you want to eliminate desire, that is desire. So
That is true.
that is the other part that you have to realize is the absurdity of it.
Well, okay, but I will argue having a desire to eliminate
And that comes from the
desires.
Buddha
It
himself.
is
He speaks of this.
it
I'm
is
just telling you.
okay. It is paradoxical, but I mean, it's still a good truth. Getting rid of material desires is still a very good thing.
Uh, okay, and explain in what way you mean, in the ways that you've described where you're not desiring that so you won't suffer.
Yeah, if you drive less, you use less gas, which uh, reduces your carbon footprint, so you're helping out the earth, but also um, then your portion of the gas can be given to somebody else. Although that does kind of go against my previous point that we already don't have enough resources.
Right. Well, and I was asking to try and tie, because you're tying this to a communal thing, while also still speaking of the fact that the desire is the root of suffering, which I was just pointing out that, like, yeah, you're you're talking about, like, if you don't desire it, then there will be more resources for other people.
Yeah,
But the real problem that makes desire the reason that you suffer is the feeling of the desire, is the feeling of not having. And so that is where the suffering begins, I guess.
it is learn. So okay, so if that is true, then the secret is learning to find peace in not having things.
In a way, yeah, kind of. It's that's why I was pointing out too, with the idea of just how even wanting to not want is wanting, and then you will have desire because you will feel as though you don't have not wanting, therefore you want to, you know. So it's just basically learning to be at peace in face of feelings, because that kind of stuff changes, and that's all ups and downs no matter what you do and how you go about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So really true peace is not to eliminate the desire because you're desiring to eliminate the desire, but I guess my interpretation of that is that you're finding the peace because you're letting go of the need to remove that. You can integrate it into your experience and be at peace with that.
Yeah. I feel like what you're saying is a hat on a hat.
What way do you mean?
What I think it's ridiculous to go that small and like say that the desire to get rid of desires is in fact a desire itself. Yes.
Well, then you should read the Buddhist stuff because that's what they talk about. So,
yeah, I mean, while that is technically true, that is literally splitting. It's not even splitting hairs. It's like splitting atoms of the concept.
but why are you willing to use the concept to demonstrate your point if you're not willing to split the atoms that the concept requires you to split?
It's literally like reading a book on how to read a book.
Yeah, but you are trying to think about how you are thinking. So,
Yeah, or reading a book on how to gain more knowledge. And when you are, by doing that, you are gaining more knowledge.
isn't that just when you read a book?
Exactly my point. But we do need to move on because we haven't even gotten to the main topic of today, and we have 14 minutes left.
All right. Well, these time
Michael.
limits are kind of like we're just gonna talk about basically the meaning of life. 14 minutes. Go.
Yeah, in 14 minutes,
I'm
we are
ready.
going to explain why are we here.
Introduce the subject and then expound on it so that I can say something that frustrates you later on because you don't like it conceptually.
You know me too well. All right. So today's main topic: why are we here? Why does humanity exist? I have my own ideas, but Mike, I'm gonna let you go first.
You're just gonna have me start at it?
Yep.
Oh man. See, that's a big question. So
because then I can't say anything that you're like, nope, that's actually not right.
No, but like I don't know if me starting with what I think is even 14-minute, like, but because I don't know if I want to answer why are we here, or if I just want to break down, I guess, what I think meaning is in the first place. So, do you want me to start or do you want to start? Because I'm going to start with breaking down what meaning is. That was my cat. Sorry.
I will start. Yeah,
That's
I did notice you have a cat in a college classroom. That's kind of odd.
What? Why are you going to a classroom where there are no cats? What's wrong with you?
True. That is the meaning why we are here. More cats in college classrooms.
Yeah, no. I don't know how that equates to 42, but
yeah. But so why are we here? Great question. I think that the answer to why are we here can be asked both individually and species wide. And individually, why, like, if you ask yourself, why am I here? That is for you to decide. Everyone has their own meaning for why they are on Earth, and that gives everybody purpose. And that is also why that I like to say that chaos will always break to structure eventually. And I've experienced that in my life. If you say to someone, I'm not going to give you any instruction. You can do whatever you want for as long as you want. Eventually, that person will start doing something productive because everybody deep at their core desires to have purpose. They desire to have their existence have meaning. And so that is individually like why we are here. As a species wide idea, humanity, why are humans here? The Christian theologians would say that humans are here because God wanted them to be here. Why did God create humans? Nobody knows. He just decided that he wanted to. He didn't need the companionship. He just wanted to create humans. The non-Christians, when asked why we are here, or the atheists would say we are here because a random collection of particles got put together and spawned us, and we are here absolutely randomly. There is no meaning. On a philosophical level, we could say that humanity is here in order to take care of the earth and tend to it. But honestly, if humans weren't here, the earth would do much better on its own, and it would be overgrown. The land could possibly grow a lot more. But I mean, I think humanity being here gives the earth purpose. So that's really good. That's really all the reasons for why we are here that I can really think of at the moment. So go ahead, Mike.
All right. Well, because I was just gonna say,
I see. As I was saying it, I thought you were gonna stop me when I said that every human desires purpose.
I had nothing. I was trying to let you get your whole thought out.
Okay.
You think that I think that every human doesn't desire purpose?
I thought you were gonna say something about that.
What did you think I was going to say about that?
Well, I thought you were gonna say that like it's not necessarily true that every human desires purpose.
It probably is not necessarily true that every human desires purpose, but it doesn't mean that the desire for purpose is predominantly present in at least every human I know.
True.
But I think that, like, before saying why are we here, the only thing we know is that we are here. That's all that we really know. It's just that we are, because experience is like a self-verifying thing, you know.
No.
But beyond that, you can't really say, like, if in the context of we just exist, you're a being that is born, you exist, and then you die, and whether you continue to exist or don't exist, like, if you ask that because you started, if you're a being that somehow never started or never ended, then you couldn't answer that. And I think if you look in the scale of everything in time and in all places and directions and wherever you go, you can't find a definitive start or an end to anything. You can only find continuations on continuations. So maybe why isn't something you can ask about being here. Maybe being here is just developed the ability to ask why. And then I think really the desire for meaning is more just the desire for relationship, because I think meaning is a byproduct or of the feeling or of an aspect or a metaphysical structure of a relationship. Because the only place you find meaning is between two things, or between, like, for something to have a meaning, like my cup in order for it to have a meaning, which I guess like a purpose is that I'm going to drink liquid out of it. If there's not me, the cup is not going to have a purpose. That's not a very solid example of that, but like I think everywhere that you find meaning ends up being between the relationship between two different things or in a relationship, as in like a more complex thing. Like everything, every interaction you have and thought process you have, and like whatever way you interact with anything is a relationship of some sort, but like something with a living being that can communicate back to you is a more complex relationship than with like my phone. But I think that like all the meaning you have for something is within those relationships. My phone to me has its meaning because I use it and because it's of my use for it and because of what the things that it produces in the interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, like your phone.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
well,
I think because uh, life itself, like the meaning of life, which isn't exactly why are we here, but that's where I've kind of gone with this, is life itself is the framework for which the relationships emerge in the first place. And so it can't have an overarching meaning because it's like the place in which meaning is forged instead of
I
the thing that can hold it or possess it. So
I agree with that. While you were talking, I had the thought that like really a desire for purpose. Why do humans have a desire for purpose? And it is because they know that life is finite. If if you went to if you went to someone who had no concept of death, if you went to it'd be hard to do this, but if you went to a toddler that had just learned to talk and they hadn't been exposed to television or the radio or death in any way, and you asked that toddler, uh, uh, um, uh, like, what is your purpose, why are you here, that toddler would not have it would have no concept of why they even needed to have purpose. The point of having purpose is we gain a desire for purpose once we have a knowledge that our time existing is finite and not permanent.
yes,
Yeah.
correct. And I think you're kind of quoting
I
I
don't even
think
know who I'm quoting.
Freud said something similar. I'm trying to think of the other guy. Heidegger, but basically death gives life meaning. So again, that's found, like I was saying, in a relationship. And so where I was going with that as to where our purpose is in life, I think what you're really doing when you're asking why we are here in the first place is you're asking to what benefit do we have, and you're looking for a relationship to something else to either be like a good thing or
Okay, really quick, I just want to add on to what you said there, that death gives life meaning.
you kind of
It,
said that, but yes.
yeah, if we add on to it, okay, so we have desire for purpose because we know that time is finite, and we know that at some point we will cease to exist in essence. And if you look really small at it, then that means that at the very core, at the very bottom of everything, the core desire of humanity is a desire for existence. You want to create meaning so that you can have your existence, or at least the memory of your existence, last as long as possible.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. I like how you said that. Absolutely. Like the
Which
desire
raises
for
the
meaning
question.
is the desire for existence and like persistence.
Yeah, which
And
raises the question: before anything is born, is all that is there a desire to exist? Is the soul, as it would be, is the soul itself a desire to exist?
I think that is a beautiful way of looking at it. And that's a profound question, you know.
I like it. I really like it.
I think there's many views in which you could apply that. I mean, on the deepest level, your spirit just means breath, but breath also that's why they say that if you understand breath, you can understand everything, because it's sort of like the yin and the yang. It's two opposites as one. There's the in breath and the out breath, but it's still one breath breathing. And so it's the same thing with like existence and non existence. If you are willing to extend it that far, because I think you can, in my view, although that's not something that I could prove. But I think relationship applies to everything.
The core
And
desire, I
so I think
must be.
perhaps more specifically, you could describe the desire for the purpose to your life as like the relationship to you between birth and death, you know,
Yeah.
in that space, knowing that you're finite, you want to be known both by the people in that time, and you want to be remembered later. And you feel, a lot of people feel like there is no meaning if eventually everyone's going to forget about you and stuff. So it's all again a relationship that's like, you want the people now to know about you, so you want to have their attention and the notoriety. You want to have that relationship with them. Even after you die, you still want that relationship with the people in the future. You want them to think about you. You want them to have that reference to you. And if you lose all of those relations where every single person and every memory of you is gone, then you feel like you no longer have meaning because you've lost all the relationships and stuff. But you also have to remember, once you die, like, I
You
guess
don't
I
care
won't
about any
speak
of it
in
anymore.
any direction towards what's going to happen, whether you're still there or not. But like,
Yeah.
that is another extension of, if you think you're going to be completely disintegrated and gone, I think that's the reason why you'd be completely nihilistic, because you'd lose all your relationships. But then at the moment you die, you are gone too. And so there's nothing to relate to. And so then there's not even
Leonardo da
lost the
Vinci has
meaning, because
no
there's no,
idea the effect
right. So
that he
there's no
had.
longer space for meaning for you. So it's not like it was meaningless. It's just now you've lost meaning. you know so it's all about your ponderance with your own existence,
Once
and
you die, you stop
finding a
desiring meaning.
way to extend that out into the world beyond you, whether that's through other beings or through art or through something. You want to make your mark to feel like you exist. So yeah, you want to feel like you exist, and you want others to know that you existed. And I think that's where the core of meaning and what you're searching for in life ultimately comes from. And that's why you want all of humanity to have a purpose and have something that we're all working towards. But then what you could do is evolve the way you think about the meaning of life, to not be searching for what it means to be human, and instead could as collectively embody the idea that, like, the relationship we have between the past and ourselves now as a living group of beings, and the future, all those relationships are the meaning of this. And so then we could work on that, both making the relationships and the things around us and the world and everything better for us now and for people in the future, because that is the meaning, is to carry, if you want to carry your legacy forward, you got to make sure that there's this at all for people in the future anyways. you know I also think a lot of people are sold this idea that the world's going to end I've been hearing apocalypse stuff since I was little, and now we've got all the climate change, and we've got everything, and there's just every front comes at you telling you this is all going to end very soon. And then I think we lose a lot of meaning because then we're not working towards a future where that doesn't happen. And I think more of us need to start working towards a future where that doesn't happen, because that would be the best meaning that we could produce with our lives, is a better future for those who are going to have the same question in the future, you know?
In order to have people remember us, there needs to be people to remember us.
Exactly. So carry on the environment for people to exist in so that people can keep peopling, and that's our meaning. You know, and then what we do within people being alive, the all the highs and the lows and the pain and agony and the ecstasy and the mundane and the profound and all that, let that continue for people even in your absence. That's where you should find your meaning, is that carries on with or without you. And you may pop in and out, but you don't have to ruin it for all the others that also are going to pop in and out. And so if you want us to keep being here, then the meaning of us being here needs to be to keep being here.
The meaning of life, prevent climate change.
Well, the meaning of life to its own degree is life. Life just continues to find a way to life.
Yeah.
Even in the face of climate change, I don't think we would end life. We would possibly end human life if the models are true.
No.
We wouldn't end life.
Yeah, kind of to put a nice bow or a cap on everything. What the conclusion that we've come to, and I mean, it's theories, so there is never really a concrete conclusion. But
I don't even want to call it a theory, because that basically, like, a real theory is way too concrete for any of the crap that I just said.
Yeah,
this is like a TikTok theory, which is really just like barely
a pop psychology.
It's barely a hypothesis.
The pop philosophy conclusion we've come to is that the core desire is I must be, and that life is the desire to exist. And death is...
I don't think it's the desire to exist, because the core idea is existence. I think
and death,
the core desire is to express.
When the desire to exist ends.
Because the desire, the process of the existence you're desiring is to express yourself.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways, I'm not going to go off on another tangent because I know we're over time. But I was just like, we can't cut off at 1 hour. You just went into why are humans here?
Why are we here?
Talking about this? How long have humans been here?
And it took like
anywhere from 12,000 to like 500,000 plus years, depending on who you talk to and what chart.
That should have been the whole episode.
Pretty sure as long as we've been here, we've been asking that question. So if this is the podcast where we figured it out, my goodness.
We're either geniuses or extremely lucky.
Well, we certainly are long-winded.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. I know that us talking can get rather tedious. That's why I will always say, when it comes to the Great Minds podcast, put us on in the background. Wash dishes, play Minecraft, crochet something, but certainly don't sit here doing nothing, listening to us, unless you're really, really interested.
Do that. Do nothing. Listen to us while doing nothing.
Sleep
challenge.
Put us on to go to sleep. We're really easy to go to sleep to.
Oh man.
But anyways, this has been episode 2. I almost got it confused because I was talking about episode 3 of The Boys. But yeah, this has been episode 2 of the Great Minds podcast. We talked about Trump's Jesus photos, The Boys season 5, and Why Are We Here, along with Why Is Greed Unkillable. One thing I noticed, Mike, which is really interesting, is that last week we randomly started talking about pride. This week we randomly started talking about greed. Should we make like the first 7 episodes be about the 7 deadly sins?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting idea. All right,
Next
everybody.
week, gluttony.
Next week, it's gonna be a mukbang. All right, that is it, everybody. My name is Uriah Gillespie.
My name is Michael Hasseth.
And that is all for Great Minds. And I don't remember how we signed off last time.
Me neither. So
yeah, I guess. Oh, that's right. Our tagline is everything happens for a reason. We're just here asking why.
what he said.
Yep. See you later, YouTube.
Bye.
Bye.